Hey, what's up, guys? I was just watching a Johnny Millennium video, Happy Console Gamer, and he did a top 10 favorite video games. And I just realized I never done one of those before. So you're probably thinking right now, okay, he's gonna do nothing but old school games. He's not gonna do any newer games. Come on, man. This guy is like 41 years old. What's he gonna tell me? Well, here's my curveball right here, man. Far Cry Blood Dragon is my number 10. Seeing how everything looked like an old school Amiga from the way it showed in the cutscenes and the dragons themselves, music, it had that 80s vibe. It really reminded me of action-packed films like Predator and Commando and the Terminator, and I'm saying way too many Arnold movies. You guys get the idea. And it was a great game. It was the only Far Cry I actually finished 100%. A lot of the Far Cry games, I like to just get from point A to point B. I just try to go through the game. I'm not a big fan of getting all the outposts and whatnot, but Blood Dragon, for some reason, just kept me going, kept me wanting to play more. And to this very day, I still play it. I played through on my PC. I play it on my Xbox One, since it's backwards compatible now. And it's just a fun ride. It's a really cool, really nostalgic, fun time for me. So yeah, definitely number 10, Far Cry Blood Dragon. Number 9, the reason I bought a Dreamcast. Yeah, see, I was fine with my PlayStation. In fact, I even upgraded or downgraded, however you want to call it, from my regular PlayStation to the little PS1 because I wanted to get the screen and the a battery pack and play on the go, Ah, but I went to an arcade one day, and there it was, a 3-on-3 fighting game with my favorite Capcom characters and my favorite Marvel characters. And seeing how crazy the combinations were and wanting to master that game more than any other fighting game, it hooked me. It took a lot of quarters. So the game I'm talking about obviously is Marvel vs. Capcom 2. Number 8. I should need to say more money, Penny. Of course not, you fucking idiot. I'm talking Goldeneye for the N64. I'm gonna stop talking like Sean Connery. It's goofy. Yeah, Goldeneye. The reason I even wanted to play an N64, my introduction into competitive first-person shooters. Playing through the game itself, using the code so you can get 2 Moonraker lasers at the beginning of the game. Yeah, it's a fun time. It's a really, really fun time. These days, when young people try to play it, they're automatically turned off because of how blocky all the characters look. But back then, GoldenEye was revolutionary. The first time you shot somebody and their hat flew off. I mean, little things like that really showed the audience, really showed the public that, yeah, the Nintendo 64 is here. Number 7, Metal Gear Solid for the old school PlayStation. My God, I never played a video game that was so story driven, just so impactful when it comes to themes of back then, as far as nuclear war, as far as, Illuminati and other types of conspiracy theories, talked about cloning and, the dangers of it. It was just so much, viruses, of course. I mean, just so much makes you question your own government or even your own existence. I mean, for a video game to do that, it deserves a spot on anyone's top 10, not just mine. Hell no. I have this thing about zombies. I've always had a reoccurring nightmare of being chased by zombies and being eaten. And when I see movies like Day of the Dead, and I see a man's head being ripped off, and the flesh being torn off the bodies, and just them eating like they're having a buffet and gorging themselves on human parts. Things like that, for some reason, just scare me. Playing the original Resident Evil gave me a chance to confront my fear. And I definitely feel like I'm a better person for it. But when Resident Evil 2 came out, and seeing how graphic that was for its time, you tend to revert back to your, oh my god, your fear comes back to you. And here I go again, confronting that fear and taking it head on, but this time with two other characters and stories that branched out, and of course, more than just zombies. You had Mr. X and the liquor. I mean, and then of course William Birkin. I mean, it was a really great sequel, and to me, it's the greatest video game sequel ever made, and it's definitely my all-time favorite Resident Evil game. I'm really hoping for a remake. I really hope that 2018 we see a surprise remake of Resident Evil 2. Capcom, clock's ticking, dudes. We want our shit. Number 5, UN Squadron. It's the only game I've ever seen my father play through. He's never played through, no, correction, Terminator 2 on the arcade. Man, I think we dumped $20 in that, but all right, back to what I was saying. Yeah, I love the fact that you can, you can buy different planes. I would always just use that first plane, and I would just tear through everything until I can get that last plane where I can get my different blends of weapons and tear through the game. It's still a hard game though. You can have every weapon and it'll still kick your ass. It has that appeal that makes you want to come back for more. Just like Ninja Gaiden before it on the NES. It leaves that impression. It says, you know what? I kicked your ass. You don't have to like it. Come on, bring it. I know you can take me. Come on, let's do it. It's that. If a game says that to you, then it's a classic. That is the making of a real classic. And UN Squadron definitely is. As far as action games go, it's really hard to pull off an action game with some type of exploration, because action game junkies like myself, we just like to tear through levels, linear path, let's do it, but when you have a game like Castlevania Symphony of the Night, with all the armor, weapon upgrades, magic, just this huge castle with so many rooms, hallways, and they're all infested with monsters, weird knights, and other forms of evil just lurking about, werewolves and shit. When you have all that, one huge castle, you go through the thing, you think you're done, that castle flips over, you got to do it all over again, and you still want to do it because you love the game, you love your upgrades, you love how the music sounds. It has probably the best music I've ever heard in a video game. Even games like Final Fantasy with its iconic tunes doesn't come close to Castlevania Symphony of the Night. And it's definitely the greatest 2D game on that damn system, because at a time where everybody was making a jump to 3D, all these 3D games that were coming out on a system where 3D really wasn't perfected. So we had some really bad action platformers with bad cameras and stuff. Castlevania decided to stick to its roots and to really create something that would leave another long-lasting impression, a lifelong impression. Ever since I got the game, I always go back to it and see how much faster I can get that percentage, so I can unlock Richter Belmont, who is so overpowered, it's ridiculous. Number 3, Super Metroid. Castlevania really did up everything with its exploration, but Super Metroid was the first to do it, and to do it right. You can't even say Castlevania exploration without thinking Metroid. So they have Metroidvania now. So now we have games of this genre, all thanks to Symphony of the Night and Super Metroid. It had so many hidden obstacles, hidden rooms. Weapons were just amazing. Boss fights were crazy. And some of them you can like easily defeat, but before you would never have guessed how to beat it, and it would just mop the floor with you. Samus was my first female hero, and she will always remain that hero to me. I always think of her as the first lady of video games. If you guys have ever followed my channel, you'll know Contra was going to end up on this list. You don't know where, but obviously it was going to be high up. And definitely Contra is that. This is the reason I even wanted an NES. When I had my Master System and I was playing games like Space Harrier and Shinobi, I would still go to my friend's house and I would immediately ask them, hey, can we play some Contra? I was addicted to Contra. I loved that game. I still love that game. This is porn for action video game junkies. Straight up. All you do is run from left to right. You have the spread. You have the shitty ass laser nobody wanted. You had the fireballs, which I couldn't stand. You had, of course, the machine gun, which was such a relief on my thumbs, because you're hitting the B button like crazy throughout the whole game until you get the machine gun, and you don't have to do that anymore. That's pretty cool. You know, then you had, of course, that temporary invincibility, you know, that really helped when you were in a pickle. But man, you wish you had it in a lot more different areas and a lot more often. Yeah, I recently hacked my PSP and installed a NES emulator and put in Contra, and I was at a friend's son's football game, you know, waiting for the game to start. I beat Contra. No continues, no 30-man code. When that happened, I took an Instagram picture. I stood up. I said, I beat Contra. Unfortunately, there was a lot of teenagers, and they had no idea what I was talking about. Number 1, as you've seen throughout this list, you're seeing mainly action video games. Yet, my all-time number 1 is a sports title. Yeah. With one of my all-time favorite sports icons, Mike Tyson's Punchout. I never really thought about the racial stereotypes. I mean, there was obviously those tropes that help as identifiers for a person from a specific region, but I never considered that to be racist, as most people think the game is today. You know, I thought it was cool. I thought, you know, it was well animated for an NES title. The characters you can make out. You know, there's a lot of video games that came out on the NES that didn't have that level of detail. And it's still, to this day, I mean, graphically, it does in a way hold up if you're into those, a lot of the pixelated games that have been coming out with that retro feel, like Shovel Knight and whatnot. You know, so with that in mind, in that sense, a game like Mike Tyson's Punch-Out does hold up. And it does work in patterns. You know, you know when the guy's going to punch, and you know how to counter it, when to use those stars to give you that crazy looking hook, whatever that is. I think it's a hook. Despite the fact that you know those patterns, you know, you can still think outside the box. There's still room for improvisation. You don't have to use the same, you know, sequence of buttons like you're playing some type of rhythm game, like some DDR or something like that. Of course, there's the infamous Mike Tyson, I'd say the quintessential boss fight. I don't even want to fight against, you know, Mr. Dream. I always hear, Mr. Dream, shut up, get him out. I want to fight Tyson. That's why I went through all these guys, because I want to beat Tyson, you know? It doesn't matter who you are. If you fight Mike Tyson, you're getting your ass kicked. Yep. Kicks your ass in real life, kicks your ass in video games. Mike Tyson is definitely the real deal, and my personal favorite video game of all time. So you guys got a top 10? I know you do. If you don't, you know, figure it out and post something below, you know, post something in the comments, or post a video talking about your favorite 10 video games of all time and post a link down. I'll go ahead and accept the links. That way, you know, get your videos out there. Get yourself heard. So, I think I'm going to go play some more Mike Tyson's Punch-Out. Oh, wait, no, I got... You know... No, I think I'm going to play some Wolfenstein instead. Let's do it.